Welcome to Sapience Learning, your gateway to book summaries.
Einstein, His Life and Universe, by Walter Isaacson. Albert Einstein. His name alone has become a synonym for genius. But behind the equations, the wild hair, and the piercing eyes, there was a man of deep curiosity, rebellion, and endless wonder. In Einstein, His Life and Universe, biographer Walter Isaacson gives us not just the story of a brilliant physicist, but of a human being who never stopped asking questions about science, about life, and about what it means to exist in a universe so vast and mysterious. As Einstein himself once said, "There are only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle. The other is as though everything is." Let's explore three timeless lessons from this extraordinary life, lessons that remind us why curiosity, humility, and persistence are the true marks of genius. Lesson 1: Never lose your sense of childhood curiosity. Einstein's story begins not in a laboratory, but in a small German home with a sick child lying in bed. At 4 years old, Albert's father handed him a simple gift, a compass. The little boy watched, mesmerized, as the needle moved, unseen forces at work, invisible yet real. He later said that moment filled him with wonder about invisible things. That feeling, the blend of awe and curiosity, would define his entire life. His mother, Pauline, also played a quiet but powerful role. She arranged violin lessons, not to make him a musician, but to nurture his creativity. Einstein would later say that when his mind was stuck on a difficult problem, he would play Mozart. Through music, his subconscious could roam freely, and many of his insights were born from those moments of melody and reflection. As a teenager, he was mentored by a family friend, Max Thome, a medical student who introduced him to books by philosophers like Immanuel Kant and scientists like Aaron Bernstein. It was during these years that young Albert began to see science not as memorization, but as imagination in motion. School, however, was not his strong suit. He was bored by rigid instruction, frustrated by authoritarian teachers, and unimpressed by rote learning. His independence and defiance, traits that often got him into trouble, would later become the very foundation of his genius. As he once said, "It is a miracle that curiosity survives formal education." That rebellious spark, the refusal to stop questioning, led him to see the universe not as a fixed set of rules, but as a playground of mysteries waiting to be understood. And that's the first lesson Isaacson teaches us. To remain curious. To look at the world with the same awe you once had as a child holding a compass, wondering what makes the needle move. Lesson 2: Einstein's Nobel Prize wasn't for relativity, but for something even more revolutionary. Ask anyone what Einstein is most famous for, and they'll probably say, E=mc². It's the most recognized equation in history, showing how mass and energy are interchangeable. It's part of his theory of special relativity, which completely transformed our understanding of space and time. But here's a surprising truth: Einstein did not win the Nobel Prize for that. In 1921, he received the Nobel Prize in Physics for explaining the photoelectric effect. At the time, scientists couldn't explain why shining light on a metal plate caused electrons to be ejected. The intensity of the light didn't seem to matter, only its frequency did. According to traditional theories, light was made up only of waves, so this made no sense. Einstein proposed something radical. He said that light is both a wave and a particle made up of tiny packets of energy, which he called quanta. Each photon carried energy proportional to its frequency. That explained why blue light, which has a higher frequency, could eject electrons, while red light, no matter how bright, could not. This bold idea laid the groundwork for what would later become quantum theory, one of the two pillars of modern physics. And even though Einstein himself remained skeptical about some aspects of quantum mechanics, his insights opened the door to everything from lasers to solar panels. He once said, "The important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing." And indeed, his questions didn't just change physics, they changed how humanity understood the very fabric of reality. Lesson 3: The journey of learning never ends, not even at the edge of life. Einstein lived a long, full life, one filled with triumphs, controversies, and deep introspection. But what's most remarkable is that until his very last breath, he was still working, still learning, still asking questions. In April 1955, at the age of 76, an aneurysm in his stomach burst. Doctors offered surgery, but he refused. He said, "It is tasteless to prolong life artificially. I have done my share. It is time to go." Even in his final week, Einstein remained dedicated to his craft. He signed a peace manifesto, drafted a radio speech, and left behind 12 pages of equations on his desk unfinished, but full of thought. He believed that curiosity should never die, that life is not measured in years, but in moments of discovery. And so, as Isaacson points out, Einstein's final lesson is this: until the day you die, your journey of learning never stops. You don't retire from curiosity. You don't outgrow wonder. Every day is another chance to explore, to understand a little more, to question a little deeper, to marvel at the miracles all around you. Einstein's life teaches us that greatness isn't just about intelligence. It's about humility, persistence, and the courage to think differently. He wasn't afraid to challenge authority, to fail, or to be misunderstood. He wasn't motivated by fame or money, but by a simple, burning desire to know why. That's what makes his story timeless. So whether you're a 16-year-old student who feels out of place, a 31-year-old researcher chasing breakthroughs, or someone who feels their curiosity fading under the weight of routine, Einstein's story calls to you. It whispers, never stop asking questions. Never stop being amazed. Because once you lose that sense of wonder, you stop really living. As Einstein once said, the most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the source of all true art and all science. That was Einstein, His Life and Universe by Walter Isaacson, a portrait of a man who showed us that curiosity, not certainty, is the true engine of genius. He taught us that the universe is full of miracles if only we have the eyes to see them.
We hope this book summary brought you joy and moments of reflection. Happy learning from Team Sapiens.